abducted. There's a movie out that I've yet to see, but I'm looking
I
forward
saw
to
it.
seeing.
Sounds of Freedom. I saw it.
Oh, tell us about it. Was it
Mhm.
good?
Yeah, it's really good. It sheds a lot of light.
Welcome to We Up with a talk show. Where we're kicking it and having fun on inspirational radio. We Up with a talk show. Kicking it and having fun. So turn your radio up.
On sex trafficking. And let me tell y'all something. I know a lady, she didn't make the news. Daughter sex trafficked. I know her personally. And she was real distressed. We prayed for her. She can't go back. Like they really literally, she's at her mom's house because they won't take her back because she had been in it so long until like her mom would go to the police, but the police be involved with it. This what I'm saying. My point is this: we may never find out because they put on the news. By the time them sex traffickers or whoever, if that's the case, put enough pressure on you, threatening to kill your family, they tell you what to say on the camera. They tell you what happened, and you repeat what I tell you. We may never know the real truth. If something like that did happen, you get a lot of pressure, prayer, and we got to drop her off because we don't want the publicity. But even if they do a press conference, that may not be what even happened at all. Because like the other young lady that I know the mom of the daughter. She had been in this, and then when her daughter got taken, it was just like she went to work on a Wednesday. By Friday, she didn't come home. Her mama don't know what happened. They had her so long, she went to the police. Then they sent her here. Then they sent her there. She had been so heavily involved until she said, I almost lost my mind. Honest to God, because I only have one child. That's the only child I got. I didn't know what happened to my child. You can't get help here. You can't get help there. And by the time they found her, they brainwashed her so bad. She said, when I went to get her, she didn't even want to come home by the time she had been gone so long. And so she said, by the time we amped up the prayers and stuff, now they dropped her off and they won't take her back. She said, but I'm telling you, these rings, they not no joke. When they get them kids and start drugging them and they get them and start selling them and they do all of them atrocities to them, they minds be crushed because they traumatized, like on a dime. Like this trauma is like, and she said, I got another child. One child left me and another child is back. I have to get to know my child again. She's scary. She be balled up. She don't talk. That was never her personality. She said, I got one child taken and I got another child returned. So what I'm saying is, so many different levels and there's so much stuff that people do, we may never find out what really happened, even if they do hold a press conference. We don't know if they don't tell them what to say because you're not going to mess with our system and mess with our money because God put pressure on us and you got to get out of here. You got to go. And I'm not saying that might not be the case, but I'm talking about a lady that I know firsthand that me and my sister's been involved with and walking through the process with her. It has been horrific. She has been the hell and back. And then, like I said, she had a child that was a calm, a regular kid in school. She go take this job Wednesday. She said by Friday, I'm like, what am I doing? You go to the police, and then it's like they don't really help you. Then they send you to other places. It's like this is not my child's behavior. I've raised her for 18 years. This is not her. She's not going to go to work and not just come home. But she just had a hard time. So being firsthand in the trenches with somebody that been through different things, I don't know what to say about this particular case, but I know it's real. I know they be taking people. And I know it's like, it's one thing when it's on TV. It's another thing when you know the mom. It's another thing when you got people that you praying for. And it's like we praying for her child to come back safe. And she, getting all the help she can. But they did connect her with a lot of different systems where they saying, you wouldn't believe it, but this is becoming commonplace, taking people and doing stuff like this. This is not like abnormal. And she said because it was on TV, she didn't know. She go to work every day and come home. She wasn't that close to that situation. She just know her daughter had this new job. She was like, oh, okay. And she was like, yeah, mama got this job, blah, 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 blah. She go to this job Wednesday. She tried to find the company. It don't exist. She went to the address, nothing there but an empty place. And this in Dallas, Texas. And she's like, oh my God, where is my child? Where is this company she's been working at for the last 3 days? What the heck did happen? So, like, it's real. Like this is not a game. These people don't be playing. And then I was looking statistically because once you get pulled into something, they say 8 million kids all over the world, not in the US, but all over the world come up missing. 8 million. And they said by the time they get anything done, half of them when they die, they have a doctor on hand to say how they died, and then they harvest in their organs because all kids can't take that kind of trauma. Either their minds or their bodies can't handle it. And so when the kids die, then they harvest in the organs. Like it's out of control. Like it literally is out of control. So, but like I said, I don't know this particular case, but I know a mom, like talked to her, hug her, prayed with her, cried with her, and her daughter's back, but they just be like, no, you got to go. Your mama's putting too much pressure. It's too many people coming after us. It's too much stuff involved. But she literally, because she was there with them, her mind is like indoctrinated to be with them. Like, because they had her so long, she didn't have no contact with her mom, her family, and nobody. And you snatch a kid away. What they call that syndrome when you get attached to the abuser or something?
Stockholm.
Yeah, that's Stockholm. And it's like, she said, son, this is real.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, oh my God. And that's her only daughter, because I can only imagine, like the turmoil she was in.
Yeah. And that's kind of where I'm at with it, right? I know it's a real deal. It's a real situation. It's definitely something that, we should take seriously. So, again, I'm glad she's home. I'm glad we have, some resolution to this.
Right.
Again, what I would hate to happen, and I guess my next prayer would be that this does not come out as a hoax, because again, to me, that would take away from some of the seriousness of this situation. You know what I mean? Like if it does come out as a hoax, to your point, Sonia, this is a very serious problem that we're dealing with, not only in this country but all over the world.
Yes, sir.
And there's definitely some things that need to be taken care of. I completely agree and believe that prayer is powerful. I do believe that it is definitely within the realm that through the prayers and through the faith of a lot of people that a situation like this can happen. And that's kind of where I'd like to see it happen. If I was to be very transparent, though, there are some questions that I do have in my head. I'm still wondering about this toddler, because to me that's still unresolved. Like, where he is, did he exist, all that kind of stuff. Because again, based off of what we're talking about here, it's a very serious situation, and they're dropping her off, but keeping a toddler, and that opens up a whole nother problem. So,
or if they set the toddler up and the toddler's their family, not the girl, but you put the baby out there so somebody can see the baby. It's like, well, that's their baby or whoever baby, and then they just use the baby as bait, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And then the baby is bait, and then you get the person and you get what you got the desired effect. But like I said, this particular case, I don't really know, but I know firsthand, like a person, like it don't get real until you know somebody. You know what I mean? You hear it on TV, sex trafficking, but by me and my sisters being introduced to this lady fighting. I mean, she had a stack of like a book, like of all the people she went to, all the stuff she tried to get help, all the systems, and she's found out a lot about a lot of underground systems, how they do this type of deal. But it's really serious. Like it's like it's mind-boggling, like for real.
All right. Well, more to come on that. I'm sure as we get more information, we'll revisit that conversation. I'm curious though. Tell me a little bit about the Sound of Freedom movie. Like I said, it is on my list of movies to see.
Without giving away the plot, it's really good. Like with all the sex trafficking and just how cunning they are and how they get kids right from the parents a lot of times. And just with the pretense of how they come to you, especially in a third world country, it was well written the way they do it. You just be a regular parent. Most people don't think everybody's evil. You know what I mean? You'd be like, especially dressed up like a nice lady, because what they do a lot of times is they use women to lure people, because men, no man ain't gonna come to your house talk about, yeah, I want your kids to, do whatever. But a woman, a soft, good looking, well dressed, well mannered woman, soft, so they use a lot of women to lure, to get the kids from their own parents. And then a lot of parents hand them over, but they don't know that's what they're doing, under the pretense of whatever they pretending to do to get them kids, at your house. Like, and you go to a poor country, but the way, the lengths and the depths, now God helped them get this particular story is a true story. And you can see how it was about impossible, but you can tell God helped them because at the end, they showed the real man and what happened and how this story was real. And I was like, sometimes God have his hands on you, and no matter what happened, you just gonna get released. And it was literally an act of God because it was about impossible. And even up to the end, your nerves is bad. It's like, ooh, but they did a good job on the movie.
Yeah.
Bringing such a serious thing to light, but they did a good job on how they show how finessed the system is. It's very well manicured, fine tuned. I mean, to the letter.
Okay. Well, definitely something on my list to see. I know there was some type of controversy around that movie as well, just from the standpoint that a lot of Christians were saying that it didn't get a lot of publicity or marketing. So, it was a couple of, I think, I would call them conspiracy theories around that because for me, the way I know about marketing is like you pay for marketing.
Yeah,
So the more you pay into it, the more it gets marketed or whoever you pay. So, but the narrative that I've heard is that because it is about sex trafficking, Hollywood didn't want people to know about it because a lot of people tie Hollywood to sex trafficking. And I don't know how much truth it is to that. I know this was a movie Mel Gibson.
Yeah, he did. He produced it. He directed or produced it or something. Yeah.
Yeah, and so his last movie did really good, Passion of Christ.
Yeah, it did really good.
So
that was raw.
Right.
And this one's gonna do pretty good too. And the interesting thing is, he said the movie was done in 2018. They just filed him in court. They got tied up in system. They would not release that movie until 20. He said, this is the first time I got the okay to release the movie. They said they bureaucrats, red tape, court document. He was tied up in everything. This is my dilemma. I see a lot of sex trafficking movies on TV. Right. Half the movies you see. I said, so why was they fighting him on the light that he brought to a situation that half the movies you see deal with sex trafficking? I mean, like, I can name.
He gonna go deep with it.
That's what I'm saying. It's just exposing stuff the way it really be happening, and you don't want to expose that way. Mm-hmm. That's what it is, because I saw it. I said, this is what they don't want you to know. They don't want you to be. They don't want it exposed this way.
Who was fighting him on it? Do you know? Or
I'm not sure. I just know they were tied up for 5 years. He said it was between legalities, between systems, between law. He said it was a fight. They've been done with this movie since 2018.
Was it a court case involved with it?
I'm not sure. I thought that's what he said. I thought they said some type of legality.
No, I mean with the original plot. Is there some type of legal thing that went on?
Oh, you're talking about in the movie?
Yeah, that was maybe outstanding or something, or
I'm not sure. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Maybe something like that, but I'm not sure because they did it like a real movie. Like it got the drama, it's got the stuff, but they just said it was based on actual events. But you make it, making a movie, and so you got
And so that's the reason why I didn't. It's hard for me to lean towards conspiracy type situations sometimes because, to your point, like I've seen sex trafficking, that movie Taken with Liam Neeson.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They make movies all the time.
It's a whole movie about, his daughter being.
I can see about 4 or 5. Half the movies they make nowadays involve sex trafficking of some sort. About half of them I'll be seeing. Like literally.
I saw a pretty graphic movie about sex trafficking as well. This lady, she was a kind of older lady, and but she, this guy approached her. He was like, "Oh, you're so beautiful. You know what I'm saying? You should be a model. I'm a photographer. I could take you some, kind of starter pics and this and that and blah blah blah." And she was reluctant to do it, and then finally, when she agreed, she went over there and couldn't go home. He
Wow.
snatched her. You know what I'm saying? And took her somewhere, and he was in the old building or whatever. And this guy had been doing this for so long, he knew everywhere and everybody in the
Mm-hmm.
building. And he had it pretty much under his control. It was crazy. It was pretty riveting.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
But she
That's what I
wouldn't give
said.
up, through it
Mm-hmm.
all. You know what I'm saying? She was like, I'm gonna, and her husband came looking for her and everything, and it,
Wow.
it got it got deep. It got deep. Look at somebody and
Mm-hmm.
say it got deep.
Okay.
Go touch somebody and say it got deep.
It got deep, Sheldon.
Mm-mm. I'm talking
Well,
about they had the boat fight.
Mm-hmm.
so I mean, there's a lot of things coming. Andrew Tate right now is in. I mean, that's a very that you're talking about a movie, but the situation with Andrew Tate right now is along the same lines where he said he was doing a business and the women that he got involved with
Oh
his
yeah, I heard
business,
something about that. Mm-hmm.
they was free to go, but they weren't really free to go. So
Uh-huh.
so it's a real thing, and so regardless, it's definitely something. I think as a people, as a society, that we need to, be on guard about and definitely take seriously. And again, that's why I think it's important that when people do like hoax or if things come like that where people are making light of situations like that, it can be a dangerous thing too. You know what I mean? It's already changes how we operate in society. You know what I mean? And
Mm-hmm.
I'll give y'all a personal example. Like just this weekend, while we were in Fort Lauderdale, we were riding over a bridge, and I saw a
Mm-hmm.
toddler with a stroller. Now we're riding over a bridge. I ain't see no adults around this toddler with
Mm-hmm.
stroller. I looked over at Carla. I was like, "You see that toddler with the stroller over there?" And again, by themselves. So I don't know if the parent had just left them and was, but we had driven a good space. I considered stopping or turning back around, but then I saw a young lady pushing her kid in a stroller going over the bridge when we got to the other side of the bridge. So I said, well, look, she's gonna run into the toddler with the stroller.
Yeah, that's the
And
truth.
maybe, but like nowadays, there's so much going on with these different things. Like, there was a point where, a situation where you couldn't, if somebody was driving with their lights off, how you would flash
Yep.
them
Yep.
to get them to,
Sure enough.
let them know that their lights was off. You can't even do that because,
Yep.
you might get caught up in some situation. So, that unfortunately, the way the world is right now, and, I'll bring this back to, our faith, a lot of prayer and a lot of, a lot of wisdom has to be applied to a lot of things that we do and experience here in this life and this
Mm-hmm.
season because there's a lot going on. So
It's the truth. And it's a lot of cover up, and it's a lot of people trying to keep a lot of position, money, power. And sometimes, like I say, when you watch the news, you don't get the real story. You have to have discernment to know what happened. You be like, you see it, and then you be like, okay. Because when you get in the ditches, or if you meet somebody like we was blessed to meet, nothing they say is what it really was. We talking to the mama. We talking to her about her child that's been gone. So it's like, man. And then the people that be tied up in it, sometimes they in the law enforcement, sometimes they in the stuff. And sometimes she been to hell. I'm just gonna tell you that. She had a notebook about this thick that she was showing us with the paperwork and the stuff that she had been through, the paperwork she filed, and the stuff that she went through to try to get her child back.
how did she find, like, where was it with the same situation where she was dropped off or, and I
She
know you
actually,
can't give too much detail about it, but did
yeah,
they find her somewhere or?
she actually had come home because her mom was like, she just showed up at the door one day. She was like, but it was the pressure. Like they couldn't keep her. Like when she even, because her mom even tell us, she said, even now she tried to get back in them systems because they had her so long, but they just won't take her back. And I think it's because of prayer. It's too much pressure. And the way her mind, and she said, "Son, honest to God, I got another child back. Like somebody else got taken, and I got another child back. And I have to work through." She fidgety. Like when I get close to her, and it's like PTSD. Like I'd be like, "Hey, I'm your mom." It's like, it's okay, it's okay. And she said, it's just She said, I try to get her to talk to somebody, like counseling or anybody, just anything. I feel desperate. I feel like my child is in here somewhere, but how am I going to get her back? And so she said she fight, she pray, but it is a uphill journey. Like literally, she is uphill. It's like, it's serious. Like,
So
Um,
let me bring you back for a second. You saying that the girl now, even though she's back, she be trying to go back with the traffickers again, and they won't take her back.
literally, they just don't, they like, she don't talk about it, but she be at home too much. Like she's there, and then she'll try to get back out because she the connection with them, but the people be like, mm-mm, because her mom stayed. Like her mom got to even know who they were. Like she got in there. She did not give up. She's one of them people. Like she will follow her. Like she'll see where they at, and like see, and then follow her. Like she even got in a confrontation with one, and she said, she got into, she said, but I didn't care if I got killed. I don't care about none of that. She said, I didn't even think about it. Like I was just confronting him. Like, I know you got much, and they're much older because her baby was only 18. You know, her baby was young. You know, she's only like 18. She older now, like 4 or 5 years later. This is like 4 or 5 years after, the fact of what I'm talking to y'all. But it's just crazy how they do it. They take you long enough to indoctrinate you, and they make you feel like you're a part of something. Like this is what you got to do, and they tell you all this stuff like you're important. Like you got to help us do this, and you got an impressionable mind. First, they traumatize you. They take you. You getting sold. You getting doped up. Like you be on drugs, and they do all of this stuff to you. So, because everybody's not complicit. Like some people are fighters, and then some people too much. So they got to drug you up to get you into it. Then however they finesse you, like we your family now, like we take care of you, like it's not that bad. And then because you didn't get no contact with your family for so long, the contact, you don't know where the contact was cut off for so long, they feel like, now you free and your mom finds you, but what else do I do? Because like she literally be, trying to go back, but they just don't take her back. Like her mom said, I think they just don't take her back because she literally, when she had a chance to leave after they, hold you and, take you places and move around, she said literally her mind is like indoctrinated. She said it's something else. Because when I saw her one time, I was out and I confronted them. And she was like, no, mom, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay, mom. It's okay. She said, I don't know what they told me to do to me, but she said, don't worry about me. I can handle me. She was like, no, mom, you don't understand. It's okay. It's okay. Like she don't even talk about it now. She's like, mom, you don't understand. Like, it's okay. It's okay. Don't try to help me. Don't try to do that stuff. But they feel pressure because she said, I'm not going to stop. And I'm going to put pressure on them. And they kept moving their places because she kept coming after them, and she got other people and other groups and other organizations.
Well, I mean, that situation that you're describing, again, and this is somebody personally, so I don't want to go into too much detail, but it sounds a lot like what was happening with R. Kelly's situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah, where you get them in and then they don't really go. Yeah, because if she'd have had contact, it wouldn't have got that far off. But you keep them so long, and you talking to them every day, or whatever you're doing to a child's mind. First you traumatize them, because she said my daughter, I don't even think she ever even had a boyfriend. Like she would come home, she was a homebody, but she was a talkative, like a lively person. But she just go home, do her work. She said I don't even ever remember her even dating anybody. Like that. She would even say, she was just quiet, but she was just a lively, quiet person. Like mom, and she said me and my daughter was always close. Then one day she go to work on a Wednesday. Then by Friday, she went to the job 2 days. Then by Friday, I go to pick her up like, where's the place? Where's my child? What is this address? What the heck is this? And it's like, no sign of your child. And she was like.
Because with the R. Kelly situation, like the parents still had contact with R. Kelly. Like they were calling and, they had some contact with their children, but their children didn't want to leave. So, the Stockholm syndrome and a lot of what you're describing is real,
Mm-hmm. She said, I believe that if I could have found her earlier and they didn't have her so long, I don't believe it would have been that bad. You know what I mean? If some kind of way I could have got help, with the law enforcement trying to get the help I needed, I don't think it would have been that bad. But because she was gone so long without that contact, whatever they do to them to indoctrinate them, because you can do a lot of things with a kid child, an 18-year-old kid child that ain't never been out their mama house, and they, you know, an 18-year-old mind is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
That wasn't in the street. Like, she didn't run the street. She said she didn't mace her. She did her schoolwork, and she was just a regular kid. But you know,
definitely could be influenced.
mm-hmm.
So let's like I said, we'll come back to this as we get more information. Definitely prayers for Carlee's family, for the toddler situation. You know, I hope we get some type of resolution on that as well, or some understanding about that. The other thing I want to bring you guys in on, last week, Carla and I did.
Welcome to the Talk Show. Well,